Hello, my friends. I'm your host. My name is Cecilia, and welcome to the Mighty Precious Feet Girls podcast, where we share ways to inspire the soul, grow the mind, and strengthen the body, so we can all achieve our greatness set by God and be courageous to defend all things precious. Learn to talk, learn to talk. Welcome back to episode number 13. To commit or to die? That is the question. Yes, once again, we're talking about death in a way. But you'll see. You'll understand what I'm coming at with this title of the podcast. Episode number 13. As you know, the episode previous, I talked about preparing for death and how God had really asked me to prepare for death. And at first I thought it was death coming like really fast. But after speaking with my spiritual director, I understood. And we all should, again, prepare for death. Every day we're one day closer. But no, to commit or to die, some tool that I've learned recently. But before we get there, let me give you a little bit of history so you can understand where I'm coming from. So I'm the sixth out of seven. There's 7 siblings of parents, Cuban parents who left Cuba, who left everything to come here to the United States for freedom. Freedom of religion, freedom of just plain old freedom to be able to read and think and to grow as how God intended us to grow. My parents are, what you'd say, a little bit on the religious side. And so we came to the United States, my parents, for a few years. They had a few children. And then my father got an opportunity of a job in Costa Rica. And that's where he went. And that's where my sister and I were born. And at that time, I'm getting to this. You're going to understand why I'm coming at this. I was, at a young age, I was left-handed. And the sweet lady that took care of us, I guess you would call her our nanny, and just the circumstances of the time, forced me to be right-handed. I just thought that's more ideal, that would be easier. Not thinking of the consequences that come through that. So fast forward a few years, we're back in the States, not speaking a word of English, coming as a 5-year-old into the kindergarten system in Miami. Yeah, you know where I'm getting with this here. Where they didn't even teach phonics. It was a whole language BS. But anyways, so all this builds up, and I was diagnosed with a learning disability. And once again, back in that time, somebody with a learning disability wasn't really looked at somebody who was capable or going to do much. So I remember I was telling this to my kids, that they would take us to a different room and they would just teach us life skills, like how to write a check, how to balance, how to find a job anywhere. You know, we weren't on the college bound. I was very glad my parents, especially my mom, did not take that as the word. You know, they didn't say, oh, she's not going to go to college because she can't do it, so let's not do it. No. But I think they felt either sorry for me or with the lack of what they understood and just giving fully trust to the system, they didn't push me. If I wanted to start something, do something, I would do it. When it got hard, I'd quit. I remember dance. I would get excited to start ballet, and halfway through the time, I would be like, no, I don't want to do it. One of the things that I did love to do was play soccer. I wanted to do that all the time. But even when I got a chance to be on the state team, got to play a little bit, and then I had to quit because, large family at that time. My father was an architect, working quite a few jobs and stuff like that. It just wasn't ideal. But that was like the theme of my growing up. Do something, gets too hard. Nah, I don't want it. Let me quit. And unfortunately, that goes into my college years. And I did get to go to college and actually did much better in college than I did in high school. I was on honors, and I was able to succeed. And I finally got, after 5 years, and we were counting with my kids, 3 colleges later, because community college, then I went to one college to play soccer for a year. Then I went to back to another college to play soccer, and then I went back to the community college, and then I finished up the 5th college. But there, as you can see, you saw the pattern, right? You see the pattern coming. Commit, gets too hard, quit. And I knew, especially once I got married, that I knew that wasn't right. I knew that wasn't something that I wanted my kids to have or to be able to do, to commit to something, and then when it gets hard, to quit. Because I knew if they didn't do that at a young age, when they're older and they came across really hard stuff, that they would have the experience of keep going even though it's going to be so hard. And there's where music comes in, and why we're a very huge advocate of playing an instrument and doing competitions. Not because we want, major accomplishment in the sense of music, but because of the process that you have to go through to learn a piece, to really learn it, to put yourself out there in front of a judge, to fail or not to fail, and to get up the next day and start a new piece. That commitment to keep going, even if all odds are against you. And I wanted them to do that. I myself was not very good at it. Still, at that age as an adult, I've done so many projects that I started with such an enthusiastic, I'm going to do this, and things get hard, and I quit. So many times, talk about diets or exercises, regimens, and stuff like that, all throughout my adult. So fast forward to now, where we're at, almost at 2020. Finally. It's never too late. Life is just way too short, and it's never too late where you're at to learn something, to grasp it, and to make it so you can grow and achieve. That's the beauty of what God has given us, to always be inspiring our soul and always growing our mind and strengthening our body. And at any age, at any time, and I'm seeing that, like I said, at a young 43, I'm for the first time in my life really living my life, that I feel I'm really living it to my full potential. At times it's much harder because I have other responsibilities and 5 children and all that kind of stuff. But not too long ago, like 3 weeks ago, I was listening to the Miracle Morning podcast, and I highly recommend, because I talk about this book, and I will put in the show notes about this book and where you can find his podcast. So he has a lot of stuff. It's about achieving your goals and stuff like that. Because I'm really great about making goals, but achieving them, that's another question. So he had this gentleman on here who talked about at his late age of life, how he came across this thing where a person told him, a professor did a study, and he told all his students that they had to sign this paper saying that they're not going to be late tomorrow, and that they're going to commit to never be late to class. And I guess it was a psychology class or something of that sort. So they all signed it, and first time works, nobody's late, second time. But let's just say a week later, a guy comes in late. And then the professor says, "You're late, you broke your commitment," and made a big, class thing about this. And the gentleman said, well, there was traffic. He had real good excuses. And then the professor tells him something. He says, what if I told you that the person you love was here, and they were going to die if you were late. That you either late and they die, or you weren't late and they lived. And that person says, I would have never left. See, he would have never left because he didn't want to take the chances of being late. But the study was that he started to put this in his students, that if they commit to something, if they think about it, that if I do not finish this commitment, this loved person will die. Again, I know it's a little bit morbid, but hold on, just wait. And I thought, I wonder if I should try that. Because, I'm always looking for ways to improve, and especially on the area of fully to commit to something. So I did. And my husband was going on a retreat. He was on a retreat team. And many times I said, I'm going to do an extended fast. And this time I said, okay, I'm going to do a 60-hour fast for the retreat. And I kept thinking to myself, if I don't commit through the whole retreat, I thought of my youngest daughter, my little crazy love bug here, that she was going to die. And I kept thinking that over and over. And so when I was at times close to be like, I'm just at 30 hours. And then I said, no, I committed. I committed because if I do not finish the 60 hour, she will die. I know, and you know that that's the thing, that she's not going to die. But you see, when you keep thinking like that, your mind sets up as a reality of that. And who wants to not commit in the face of death? So I was able to finish the 60 hours, and I was kind of like, whoa, maybe this commit or death kind of thing really works. And I've tried it on other things. I tried it on smaller things. Now I'm trying a bigger thing. And so that's where I am. And I am here committed to you ladies, moms, girls, women of all stages of life. And that's why we have changed the name of our podcast, and we're working on changing our program and making it a little bit more wider than just a running program. And we're changing our name to Mighty Precious Girls, because girls of all ages and walks of life, and where we can find ways to really inspire our souls, our virtues, how to really grow our mind and have a mindset such as this little task of thinking to commit or to die. How we can really use our mind to get to what we want to accomplish, and ways to strengthen the body. So Mighty Precious Girls, all this, so that we can really go out there and achieve greatness that is set by God. Each and one of us was set to do something amazing. And no matter where you're at, that amazing thing will happen if you bring it all to Him, and you give it all to Him, and you seek Him in everything, and you use all the other things to enhance His greatness. So, my friends, thank you for listening today. To learn more about our enrichment program that empowers and equips girls of all fitness levels, girls of all stages of life, you can find us at mightypreciousfeet.com, and please share, like, comment, do all great things that you can do with social media with our podcast, and find us on Facebook, Instagram. But remember of all, please be kind, be brave, save lives. Have a mighty day.